Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about tech leads. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, as a tech lead in software engineering, what does it mean to be a multiplier? Well, a multiplier is sort of the leadership take on what we call the 10x developer. And for those of you who don't know it, the 10x developer is this like imaginary person who is 10 times more productive than everybody else. It can be discussed, and it's always discussed, is this a real, does this actually happen, yes or no? And I have a few videos on when I try to define that for you, so that this might take on like what a real 10x developer looks like. But what I find interesting is that the multiplier, in my perspective at the least, you go with the definition I use, is a 10x developer. That is what a 10x developer actually is. Because a multiplier would be an individual who has the ability to take a team and make them more productive, make each individual person within that team a better, more productive worker, or so forth and so forth. And it's really that simple. Do you have the ability to, well, what is it? The sum of the system is greater than the parts, that sort of deal, where as a leader of a team, do you have the capacity to make each of the people or like the team produce better? And that is the cornerstone, at least I believe, in any good manager. I think I actually read Elon Musk said at some point now that he feels that anyone in a technical field or in management needs to have skills in coding or like technical skills on par with that of the workers, because leading by inspiring and so forth is a better, if it's a more effective way of leading than anything else. And I truly believe that. I echo that 100%. Most of the issues we face in any organization or any group of people come from the fact that we hire trained managers who don't actually know anything about the work that is being done. And I've always argued that true strong leadership is better to establish from the bottom up, because I mean, not everybody is going to be able to take on the role of becoming a team lead or a tech lead or something like that just because you are a software developer. But there are plenty of people who are going to be able to do that, and I don't know why. Well, I suspect I know why, but I think it's sad that it has become the norm that the requirements on software developers are that's sky high. We basically screen these people like we're training for the fucking Olympics, but the managers, not so much. Like the leaders in IT are a joke in many cases. I've never seen a consistent quality level in the people who lead IT companies or lead teams and so forth. And that's the opposite of being a multiplier. The regular manager won't be able to actually increase productivity within their own team. But the ones who know how to do that, well, these are the sort of people that you're, like, at least now, that is, you're trying to find them, but it is very difficult to find these people. And as such a person, or rather the way that I sort of approach this is where that's why it's so critical that you yourself, that you are a strong software developer. Because if you are a strong software developer and you take over a team and you become a tech lead or something like that, you will know. And this is where the difference between a good tech lead, a true senior, and some dude or some girl who like, or some woman or something like that, who just sort of has the job. This is the difference. Do you have the years of experience and like the emotional intelligence and all these sorts of factors that are necessary to figure out what makes the difference? Most tech leads do not know how to do this. Most tech leads cannot scale their own talent and productivity to more people than themselves, which is the main difference I find between effective leadership and just being a senior. And if you find such a person, you will find that they can actually make a very big difference. They will understand how to set, what tools to bet on, what internal frameworks to design, what type of documentation and mentoring and coaching, etc., to provide to the team, and how to structure stories and how to set things up in such a way that the team produces at a very, very high level. And this is why I always find it hilarious. I might have been lucky because I've had a lot of those people in my personal work. Like, I've found that it's some roles that people seriously are hiring. It's like ridiculous to me that they are hiring these people, because within the teams that I have worked with, they usually have these sorts of talented tech leads. It's never been necessary. I just have to this day never been in a team that needed a scrum master. I thought it was a joke the first time I was part of such a team, because it was like it was literally like you had at least 5 people in the room who could do the job like that and do all the other stuff and like inspire and lead and like all this sort of stuff. But instead you had this one person who had almost no skills whatsoever apart from this one thing do that. And the same thing goes for these sorts of situations where you have extremely talented software tech leads who know how to set up quality testing and automation and things like that, but instead you outsource that to like some other part of the world where you have subpar tech talents. In these cases it was subpar, like who sort of get the job done and actually create a shittier process, rather than just investing in the tech lead or the software developers that have these sorts of aptitudes. And it's I don't know what to make of it. It's sad sometimes, because when you find tech leads that are this good, or you find individuals that have that magical combination between raw talent, tech skills, they're really good at what they do, but they also have the ability to see a larger picture and scale their own process to more people and inspire, not just inspire, but actually set up processes. And they sort of have that magical, they have leadership, they have vision. These people, I don't know why we don't just, why it's so difficult to identify these people, and why we don't just put them on our shoulders and walk around with them like you and parade and celebrate the fact that we have such an individual, and just give them as much power as we can humanly give them, because these are the people who make the difference. These are the people who are going to make your shitty little IT company into the next Google or Facebook or whatever, or at least not by today's standards, but the success cases that you see in IT are due to one part, of course, a good product, but having these sorts of people empowered, that is the main reason. This is like the thing that you are looking for. These are your star players. So what I want you to take away from this is that usually what it means when you talk about tech leads being a multiplier is that they have reached a point in their career where they're so good at what they do that they can scale their own productivity to more people than themselves. This is something that doesn't actually necessarily have to happen. I've worked with people who have been working for many years, up to 20 years in some cases, where they just don't have that ability to structure work processes and inspire people or set things up in such a way that other people can benefit from their leadership or coaching or things like that. They're very good as an individual. They're very good at their job, but they are not leaders of developers, if that makes sense. And that is what a multiplier is. It's a person who amplifies, a 10x developer, if you who can multiply and produce a value that is greater than the parts of the system that they are dealing with, or in this case, the team that they are dealing with. And if you are lucky enough to have such a person, try to learn from them. Because usually, at least what I found, the key element that they have is that they truly understand the process of software development, like all the things that make up, like how fast you ship, what the quality levels are, etc., etc. They know all these tricks and patterns that are very that produces a very good result for the end customers, and they also have the ability to scale that understanding to more people, educate other developers, or set up documentation, set up work processes or policies, or in some cases automated tooling, etc., etc. They know how to find how to set things up in such a way that people with less skill can actually sort of like just sit in on this thing and just benefit from all of that. It's in a sense, it's how you have some very talented people set things up in society or create products or something like that, so that we normal muggles, we don't have to know how to do a lot of advanced stuff. It's just so convenient and we sort of take it for granted, but we sometimes forget that a lot of the stuff that we take for granted every day, very, very smart people had to work really, really hard to just get that into place, so that we, the normal mortals, well, we sort of just do this thing that we're told how to do, and we don't reflect all the time so much maybe on how genius this thing actually is. Have a great day.